It would seem that every year is destined to bring a new season of great controversy to Fortnite. It's like a rite of passage at this point, and 2024 was no different. Chapter 5, Season 3, Wrecked, splits the community very hard over the summer. It was the car cells versus the build jacks, the nitro fiends versus the sweatheads. Ultimately, Epic sided with the Nerf Nation and nerfed several of the new items into the ground so that they would wreck your game another day. Now, me? I stayed completely out of the debate, too busy popping just one more Nitro Splash to get through the day. But to say it was an interesting few days on the timeline would be an understatement. And with that season firmly in the rearview mirror, I've been thinking, was it really that bad? Because I enjoyed it. So let me share my case. Game 1 was my very first game of the season. Unfortunately, it was everyone else's first game too. So I flailed around, killed a couple of guys, and then died a horrible, gruesome death. Game 2 was recorded a few hours into the season, so the traffic was slightly less insane. Still insane though. You really gotta watch out for the grunts here. If you're not careful, you could be BLAH! Okay, game 3. I'd actually like to make it out this time. This time I landed on the eastern wing. Don't do this, it has no loot. Gotta say, I'm a big fan of the new tactical AR. It was pretty rough at first, but they gave it some good buffs this season. I left pretty early game 3, I'm not all that interested in that killing nonsense. Oh, go on, maybe just once, for a treat. Later on, I was attacked from both sides, and it came down to a good old pump and jump, and I lost. Game 4, I dropped right into the drome. There are these really cool Mario Kart style pickups that you can use to trick out your ride. Using that, I left pretty early on. Hey, guys, this man said he doesn't use code Jakus in the Fortnite item shop. After flying through one of these giant flaming rings, I was launched directly into a super sweat. Oh yeah, some real virgin vibes here. Things got even worse when we were third-partied, and when I tried to deal with that, I was shot in the foot. Game 5 was bad. Ooh, that felt good to watch. Game 6 was even more upsetting. He lived with 1 health! I left pretty early on in Game 7 and found this boss. He didn't put up much of a fight, so I killed him, grabbed his loot, and got out of there. This homeless man asked me for some food, so I gave him something else he could eat. This mythic combat shotgun is no joke too, but unfortunately while going for the finisher, I was sniped? Game 8, the drop was contested. I tried my best with my pickaxe, I really did, but yeah. Oh, this one made me mad! Game 10, I was jump scared by a white woman. After dealing with her, I had to fight a turbo virgin, and we all know how that always ends. Get a job! Game 11, I landed on Gut Bomb's restaurant. Something I'm starting to notice is there's just not a lot of loot around here. It's like a wasteland. Oh, I get it now. It took a minute, but I did get my hands on a gun, and then the bloodthirst began. I acquired the mythic boom bolt through totally legal means, but then everyone and their dog showed up, so I took my escape. The boom bolt plus the fists are a deadly combo, but I think in general I'm starting to get a hang of the weapons this season. I had a close encounter with this blue team leader, but my sheer manly strength finished the job. Similar case here, but I didn't survive. It wasn't some cheap death, I was simply outplayed. Died 2019, born 2024, welcome back. Quad crasher flying. Using our car's turret, we committed a drive-by shooting. This thing is great, and the pros will definitely get it nerfed in 5 working days. We took a quick dip in the storm to halt the AI revolution, but up against real, actual humans, I didn't fare so well. Many say that 13 is an unlucky number, and they would be correct. I had this Black Knight cornered, but my gun it wouldn't shoot, I swear. Just put me out of my misery, man. Oh, you'd best believe we came back for round 2. Never did kill that Black Knight, but we did get some vehicular manslaughter in, so... This game was the epitome of what the Nitrodrome is. There was some serious Mad Max shenanigans happening here. In the end, we made it out with the boss car, which comes with crazy speed and infinite fuel. It's a real beast. The late game was getting a little bit crazy, and in the end, I didn't make it, so it was all up to Nick to clutch up. He didn't. This might be the certified greatest Fortnite season of all time. Like, imagine killing yourself the day before Season 3 came out and missing out on peak. Using our car, we absolutely vanquished this poor soccer skin, and with one final knuckle sandwich, I punched my way to the win. Game 16, we truly became completionists. Basically, you drive through these rings, it causes loot to fall from the sky, then you kill the boss and you get the hell out. We made our way down to Sandy Steps, where I fisted the Megalodon before getting shot in the head. This one's up to Litten. I'm sure he'll clutch up, right? Right? Game 17, I was immediately taken out by Billie Eyelash, and the guys very kindly opened the vault instead of rebooting me. Priorities, I guess. When I finally was rebooted, I was left to deal with a whole squad with just a grey pistol. I got an upgrade to my loot, and these guys called dibs, so I gave it to them. Bullets first! The squad split up to cover the boss POIs and get all the medallions. Zestmaster and I went to the rig to collect the mythic combat AR. In the end, it was Nick and Litten in the strongest car in the game. First, they plotted to fling a carjacker into the storm, that brought it down to good old 2v2, and in the end, Litten jumped into a box and fisted an entire box full of players for the win. Ah, I see it as bot hunting season again. Excellent news. I will inform the cavalry. This blue team leader probably didn't expect to be uppercutted to death today, but hey, that's just what happens when you catch these hands. We claimed the loot island and earned the ultimate reward, the mythic hand cannon. Oh, wait, I can't use it yet. I've got to give this soccer skin the business. I'm just gonna let this end game play out. I love the new mythic hand cannon. Add the medallion from the Nitro Drone onto it and you're one-shotting kids. And with one final punch in the butt, that's a back-to-back win. Oh yeah, you know that one felt good. Game 19, I beat this goon to death. Oh, I'm not sure how this happened. Let me just, fix. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're good. I'll admit, I'm definitely conflicted on weapon mods in Fortnite. On one hand, they add a layer of complexity that I don't know if I want in a battle royale, but on the other hand, custom weapons are cool. Launching into the final circle, we successfully got away with several criminal offenses. Final circle was closing around the rig. I was the first to reach the ultimate high ground, but also the first to die. And with only 1 health, the rest of the team didn't last much longer. Game 20 was substantially worse. I was literally killed by a guy called Bad Man. Game 21 is more of the same, really. I thought you were stronger. Oh well, I'm not the first person to be killed by Travis Scott in a stadium now, am I? Game 23, I got myself into a very Looney Tunes predicament. Anyway, it was up to— oh, great heavens! Yeah, we lost. Wow, what a fitting ride for the apocalypse. Fortnite in 2024 truly is something else. You know what's also something else? My own death! Game 25, I dropped on the bridge nearby. I wouldn't really recommend this drop, it doesn't have a lot of loot, but it's at least quieter. Roar, face my fists, heathen! Skip to the final circle and things are looking rough, but with a couple of crucial kills, things are looking up for the team. And when it's a 3 vs 1, no one else stands a chance. Game 26, I played very well, I just didn't win. And yes, this is replay footage, the recording stopped working. Quick, share this video with someone you'd Flowberry Fizzle over. Ultra powerful death car versus small ledge. Who would win? Damn, why does this robot have all that cake? Oh, maybe if I wasn't focused on that, I would have lived longer. Doesn't matter, the guys have got this handled. And in the end, I was right. All it took to secure the win was a simple shoulder bash. Awesome, looks like the violence levels are just as high in game 28. That's fine, it's nothing we can't handle. Well, until I got trapped underwater, that is. No, I'm not kidding, I was genuinely drowning. Well, it appears that I've made it to the afterlife. I was kind of hoping my soul would go upward, but this will make do, I guess. Our plan for the final circle is basically just to be as annoying as possible. It didn't work. Back to solos game 29. Oh, that went well. Somehow I have Stormtrooper aim against a Stormtrooper. Yeah, I deserve that. Game 31. Game 32 was played in the Team Rumble playlist, and the Nitro drone was in the circle. This resulted in the drone being really chaotic and a whole lot of fun. I don't often play Team Rumble, but I could see it being a really big mode this season. As soon as I found the fists, it was already over. I was wiping out entire squads with these things. This, right here, is the definitive Team Rumble experience. Oh, and yeah, we won. That was so much fun, you already know we're running it right back. The Nitro Drone was on our side of the circle this time, which was even better. I left pretty early on. I wanted to maximize my chances of finding the fists. Surprisingly, I came up short. I couldn't find any anywhere. I even checked the supply drops. Still, Who needs fists, eh? Once again, the other team didn't even stand a chance. I had a nice drop game 34, landing right on the fists. Wha-bam! Another reason why Team Rumble is so great this season is it's just a good mode for comboing different items in a natural setting, since, well, there's no risk of dying. Man, I don't know what was happening here though. That was just weird. Oh, yeah, and we won, I guess. Do Team Rumble victories even mean anything? Okay, last Team Rumble game. I promise I'm just having too much fun. And having the Fists of Power means I'm no longer a second-class citizen. Some real teamwork was displayed in Game 35. We always had each other's backs, even if we both suck. Alright, well, I didn't contribute that much overall to this one, but it was still a good time. Game 36 Game 37 I hit this Stormtrooper with a nice headshot and was soon thereafter killed.
Did you just get carjacked?
Go, 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 go!
No!
Ew.
I think that speaks for itself. Game 38 went suitably well. Just want to highlight these bunkers real quick. They're a great source of loot with 3 super chests, a bunch of weapon mod benches, and gold bars. And they're pretty discreet, so once you leave, you'll probably have a pretty good loadout. Despite all that loot, things aren't looking good Game 39. In the end, Litton was on his own up against a full squad, and that doesn't usually end very well. Game 40 started the same way as many, except this time we didn't grab the boss loot until really late. It's definitely always worth getting though. I mean, this medallion gives infinite ammo and a damage buff. Like, come on, dude. Seems kind of fitting that we're in the underworld for the final circle while I'm wearing the undead pumpkin man skin, and hey, look at that. We won. Game 41 is hot! Yeah, playing trios with Cruzy and Blaze now. I think a lot of this season, especially the Nitro Drome, is built for these team-based co-op modes, rather than my usual playlist of choice solos. I think in general in team-based mode you're going to have a lot more fun, like in Game 42 we were holding really good position moving into the later zones. With our bellies full of wasteland loot, we emerged victorious from this absolute cluster truck. But when fighting later on, our car was nabbed, and that guy, he was determined to live. I had to chase down my own car, and when that failed, he blasted off into the stratosphere. Oh, don't worry, we brought him back to reality. Status update on Game 43, it's going well. In Game 44, we were just patrolling our lands when we came across every single medallion in the game just kind of sitting there, on the ground. For us! Boxed up in a more traditional final circle position, there was one guy left and we just had to find him. When he finally emerged, we dropped down and shotgunned him for the win. Straight to the end, Game 45, we're going for that tasty back-to-back. After vanquishing this man, there is only one in our way. This guy was real slippery. We were chasing him around the woods for like 5 minutes, but when I finally caught up to him, I shot him in the back and we took home that back-to-back dub. Game 46, I escaped the Nitro Drome by the skin of my teeth. Don't worry, I came back for the Vault car. We got into a fight with an Ultra Sweat on the outskirts, but we killed him with the power of friendship. Looks like this one's gonna be a back-to-back to As you can see on the map there, all 3 medallion takers were here today, and as you can see by my dead body on the ground, I didn't have one of them. Game 48 was almost better, but not quite. Game 49 was definitely not almost better. Yeah, like I said, really not a solo season. Game 51, I really just focused on completing the time trial rather than fighting in the arena, because the loot you get from it is definitely worth it. Of course, that didn't stop me from getting instantly annihilated, but you know. Game 52, I dropped outside the main Nitro Drome to this little bunker. It's actually not a terrible drop. It gives you some working class loot and means you don't die immediately. I made my way up to Pleasant Piazza where I missed every potential shot I had at killing this man and died. Game 53 was a fumble of epic proportions, a fumble that will be spoken of for generations to come. Nothing much happened Game 54 except for me dying horribly. Game 55, we made it all the way to Loot Island. I even killed Homer Simpson, but my crimes caught up to me. Game 56, we actually made it to the final circle. I know, amazing. Zero build, 2 vs 1, and he has the boss car. We devised a fiendish scheme to hijack his car, which Litton put into action by yeeting him into the storm, getting us the win. I do not like zero build. I do not like it at all. I survived more than 15 seconds, so game 58 is already better. Oosh, 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 oosh. Entering the final circle with our bellies full of loot, I was unfortunately taken out, but luckily for us, there was a reboot van right there, and from there, getting the win was a piece of cake. Game 59, I died from a punch to the cranium. Game 60, I just got shot in the back. You see those medallion markers on the map there? Yeah, those kids were storm camping Litton for like 5 minutes straight this game. Don't worry, we got those medallions through, family-friendly means. And with that, this is now a 1 vs 1. It came down to a quick duel, and listen, fired first. Game 61, I've got the mythic hand cannon. Oh, this game's won already. Well, I guess there are some ailments even the mythic hand cannon can't fix. Ugh. I had this weird FOV glitch all game. I also fought an entire squad of bots. I guess Fortnite feels bad for us. And it should feel bad! I got over it. The last team was a team of bots, and sure, I'll take the free win, I guess. Doesn't feel as good as a real win, but it's whatever. I've never been able to get a win with this Cow Jonesy skin. Let's see if I can this time. Well, I lasted longer than this poor Rust, but not that much longer. Game 65 went terribly, thank you for asking. Game 66 was worse. The Boogie Bomb is a real great way to deal with the cars this season. You force them to leave the car and you get a free shot on them while they're dancing. Or alternatively, you can just blow up the cars with your guns. The pros will have you believe this is hard to adapt to, however it is slightly harder to adapt to being shot in the back of the head. An easy way to deal with the boss at the Nitro Drome is to take shots from the parallel roof. All of her attacks are either close range or explosive, so she has to get a lucky shot to really damage you. I was being harassed by this Octane, so I turreted him until he was forced to get out, and then I sped off. Unfortunately, I was later hijacked, and instead of getting out, I stayed in the car, and yeah, that was a stupid death. Game 69, I hit this nice shot. Then I choked harder than I ever have before, and I'm not proud. The Boogie Bombs really are an effective anti-car option, but Game 70 I missed, so I guess the fists will just have to do. Now combining them both, on the other hand, can produce some truly deadly results. The battle was getting a little heated, so I dipped, but not without at least one manslaughter charge. Oh, I came back, I ain't no coward. I got to this Orisa pretty low, but was also pretty low myself, and when the big moment came, I needed to reload. Game 71, I took out Ringmaster Scar all by myself, but was immediately jumped by this elite agent and brutally killed. Game 72, I was equipped with only a grey pistol, but sometimes that's all a guy needs. A few upgrades later, I entered a standoff with this boss car, and I tried to save myself, but it was already too late. Game 73 ends the same way as hundreds of others in my Fortnite career. I lose a shotgun battle. Game 74, I won the battle, but lost the war. Game 75, I engaged in a good old build battle. It was going well until I tried to take a shot and fell 700 feet to my death. Game 76, I got a new graphics card, so I was basically just testing that out. It's hard to tell on video since YouTube caps out at 60 FPS, but even on epic settings while playing and recording, I can still hit a solid 120 FPS. Is it worth the upgrade? I'd say so, both visually and for performance. Just look how stunning this is. Does having better frames automatically make you better at the game? No, but they'll help. A Boogie Bomb will though. Case in point, 1 vs 1, final circle. We've been playing this cat and mouse game for a while now. He Boogie Bombs me, catches me by surprise, I get stuck in an 8-tick storm, I panic, I fall, and I break both of my femurs. This will take some practicing to master. Game 77, I was a victim of this season's meta, which is definitely not controversial in any way. Game 78 shows that you don't necessarily need a car to survive in the wild wastelands of the Nitro Drome. In fact, here's a good old shotgun fight. Final circle on a mountain here, my car is taken out, so we're going old school this time. Take out the Dark Bomber with the fists, shotgun the next guy before he can even reach me, and for the last dude, all it took was a little bit of spray and pray. Definitely starting to feel an improvement to my aiming with the higher FPS. Of course, I'm not invincible, just slightly better. These guys were like sitting ducks. Get it? We gave them fuel, we gave them fire, and we gave them that which they desire. Game 81, I was equipped with only the hammer pump shotgun. I don't like the hammer pump shotgun. Game 82 is over. Game 83, okay. I'm not sure where the soccer skin was hiding Game 84, but when all was said and done, he was dead, and I was not. I'm sure you can envision how the rest of this game went. They're all pretty much the same. And just like many others, I died a horrible death to somebody with a stupid name. Game 85, this man drove his car into a ditch to get rid of me, but it was in fact I who got rid of him. Before I could even escape, I was jumped. Do not do this. I am British. I have many knives. Pretty sure this guy shot me through a wall here. Yeah, he won. Game 86, I got Fortnite Wrecked. Nice try, Gold Trooper, but no one escapes judgment for their sins. And I mean no one. Even me. Shouldn't have slain that banana. Never solo squad to the Nitro Drome. Worst mistake of my life. Game 89, I'm sure this one won't end horribly. It ended horribly.
Hey casuals, how do you suggest I win in this situation, huh?
Nerf the cars, epic. Game 91 is played in a tournament playlist. Pray for our souls. Tournaments don't have cars, so the Nitro Drome is incredibly boring. Oh, and that vault loot, man. I want it now! We were able to take out the boss, but were pretty quickly after killed. Game 92, I got my hands on the Fallout gun. It's pretty good, but I'm best enjoyed
Up close.
my game audio cut out, and while I troubleshooted that, trouble arose as I was shooted at. Game 93, I killed Death himself, and Death explained in Fortnite terms. Oh, you'll see them soon enough, bundles. And so will I! An easy way to deal with the car's grenade launcher is to just shoot the driver until they're forced to get out, and then boom bolt them to death. Also surprisingly effective on bots, but not so much on real players. Game 95, I got a free medallion, and hunting down this Cypher PK brought the count up to 2. Yup. This game will be going in my suicide note. Game 96 went as well as you'd expect, as did Game 97. Same story, different game. Double pump boys for life. A lot of pro players were complaining about people running away with a fist, so I've developed an exclusive strat known as shooting them. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a dirty, dirty casual. Game 100. 100 games of pure chaos. What have I learned? Well, I barely survived my first encounter and then died to an AI henchman, so probably not a whole lot. Wrecked launched in May of 2024 with an absolutely massive update. The seasonal big bad, Megalodon, drove his Leviathan ship straight into the south coast, obliterating several locations and leaving a massive desert wasteland in their place. This biome is easily my favourite one on the Chapter 5 island. It's beautiful, it's expansive, and it has some really interesting locations. First up, the Leviathan itself, brutal beachhead, home to Megalodon himself and his mythic combat shotgun, which, I mean, that should be enough to justify dropping here. There was also Redline Rig, a really cool new take on an oil rig location, if sometimes a bit of a maze, but it was always the place to be if you wanted some good early game action. Plus, there was a, for a time, exclusive mythic combat assault rifle in it for you. Finally, my favourite of the three, the Nitro Drome. I liked this place most simply because of the car minigame in the middle pit. It was super fun and a good way to get some early game loot. Oh, and it had an infinite ammo medallion. So yeah, absolute peak. These POIs are all super dope and honestly really creative. An issue I've had with a lot of locations in chapters 4 and 5 is each new biome brings very samey feeling POIs, but that really wasn't an issue for Wrecked. With the arrival of the Wasteland, a new series of cars rolled out. Now, here's where the controversy begins. A lot of people really hated the cars. Now, don't get me wrong, getting run down by an ultra-fortified boss car is pretty annoying, but here's my perspective. Wrecked encouraged a very different playstyle for Fortnite, one many people are unfamiliar with, but it's not unwelcome to me. Fortnite Battle Royale has been ongoing for 30 seasons at this point, and one of the core fundamentals of the game's success has been its ability to change itself and keep fresh. I knew from the start of Wrecked that this would be a limited affair. Chances are we would never get another season like this, so I should enjoy the chaotic car mayhem for as long as I could because, well, is there really another game with that gameplay loop? I'd argue no. It was silly, and it was fun, and I think that's what Fortnite does best. And if you don't like it, that's fair. And Epic did eventually accommodate you by removing the cars outright from the ranked playlists. Granted, that took way too long, but that's a separate issue. Plus, it really wasn't impossible to adapt to the car meta. One of my favourite strategies was a complex one called shooting the driver. Some of the car nerfs Epic made I think were definitely justified. For me, the big one was health. Those boss cars did not need to have as much health as they did, especially with the regenerative ability, which also got cut, and the plentiful regen stations across the map. The grenade launcher also felt way too busted at the start, but for me, really after the first couple of weeks, the cars felt okay. Of course, there were more items of issue this season, namely the Nitro Splashes and Nitro Fists. The fists were a very fun item, going around and giving out knuckle sandwiches was awesome, but I can certainly understand why they were nerfed. I think that the changes to the fists later on were definitely for the better, but the same can't be said for splashes. The big issue people had with the Nitro Splash is that they enabled users to one-shot walls and allowed the user to surpass turbo building, but Epic overcorrected and nerfed them so hard they really couldn't do much of anything to build unless you damaged them beforehand. Really, it had the inverse effect of what Epic expected. It made it harder for the intended audience, casuals, to use them, but in high-level competitive, it really wasn't that much of a hindrance. Still a cool item, great for mobility, and especially funny that you could just run over water, but I think the nerfs were a little over-tweaked. Really just making them break walls in 2 hits would have been a big improvement on all fronts. Whew, jeez, at least no one had an issue with the war bus, right? I mean, if anything, it was more on the useless side, but I cherish it all the same. Now in terms of guns, you're gonna need to hear me out when I tell you that Wrecked has one of the most balanced, fun gun pools in years. The tactical and warforged rifles go together really nicely with the tax buffs, making it super viable. When the warforged got swapped out for the combat, it was a little overpowering, but not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. The Enforcer also got some substantial buffs to make it a much more reliable precision rifle than its previous appearance in Chapter 5 Season 1, where it was just outclassed in every way. The shotgun pool was unfortunately still a massacre at the hands of the Gatekeeper, but I think the reworked combat shotgun is the most fun it's been in years. The Gatekeeper has long been overdue a nerf with its insane spread, speed, and damage output, but in my opinion, the combats did at least stand a chance against it. The SMGs were at a point where they felt pretty interchangeable depending on your playstyle, which I always think is a good thing. Plus, the hand cannon was here, along with the new Conductor's hand cannon from Loot Island. Easily my favourite pistol ever conceived. Get that thing in my hands and the win is as good as ours. And brand new was the Boom Bolt. Honestly, one of the most balanced explosives. I really had no problem with this thing after the nerfs. This battle pass, my Goobo was it strong. Bright Raider, Rust, and the Machinist are all incredibly strong skins with great styles. Megalodon is a very cold tier 100, Fallout is one of the most fitting collabs they've ever done, and Peabody sure is here. I'd mention Ringmaster Scar, but she'd single-handedly bring the battle pass down from A tier to F, so let's move on. One of the things Wrecked really got right was updates. The additions of the season were spread out and it felt like each week there was something to come back for. The Fallout laser gun was an incredibly underrated rifle. With hit scan and pretty nice damage output, I definitely saw myself using it on a few occasions whilst others slept on it for the longest time. The tow hook cannon was not one of my most used items, but in squad mode it was great fun to latch onto a friend's car and ride around shooting people. I recall it always came out of those big ammo crates, so I saw them all the time, but I rarely actually picked one up. The heavy impact sniper? I don't know. I loved using it, but it doesn't stick out to me as a sniper rifle. In fact, I kind of forgot it got added until I wrote this. Magneto power was fun. Magneto was a bit of a weird bonus skin choice, but they made him fit the season, and the power was really fun to use. Ultimately, that's what I look for in a collab item. Still not sure why it was rare instead of mythic though. The downside of the content being nicely spread out is that one of the most anticipated additions for me, the minigun, didn't get unvaulted until 10 days before the season ended. The first big event of the season saw Metallica take over the entire game. For Battle Royale, this meant a mythic guitar called Ride the Lightning. Lars would be proud. This thing was a little annoying, mostly because you could be mid-fight and your opponent would whip this out, strum away, and be gone in a literal flash. But there was also Loot Island's update, where you had to jam out to some metal to capture the point. I thought this was a really cool way of doing it. It was a unique integration of the collab. This season saw an event pass, with Pirates of the Caribbean coming to the island. I'm not usually all that interested in these events, but I must admit, I liked this one. The cosmetic pass itself was actually good, but more importantly there was Shipwreck Shallows, an awesome little pirate POI in the middle of the map. And frankly, it's criminal that it got deleted afterwards. The ship in the bottle was also an incredibly powerful item that just felt good to use. I definitely thought it would just be a reskinned Junk Rift, but no. This one impressed me. With the introduction of new cars, it was inevitable that new vehicle cosmetics would be inbound, since that's a thing now, I guess. The two boss cars sport very cool designs, but then there was him. Yes, this year's summer road trip event brought the Tesla Cybertruck to the island. Gross. I'm sure Epic got paid a lot for this, considering none of their own employees seems too happy about the addition, and it's whatever. It's not accurate until it starts exploding unprompted anyway. Fortnite's summer events have always been hit or miss, but this one was just whatever. Some sprays and the most undesirable car of all time. Sure. Fall Guys, because fuck it, why not? The Beans had their own course above classy courts right at the end of the season. It was a silly, small minigame that I honestly enjoyed. And look at the back bling, you can't hate him. Oh man, that's a lot of content. I'm not forgetting anything, am I? Oh yeah, Reload, a brand new mode launched just a few weeks into the season, with a smaller map, nostalgic locations, classic weapons, and a refined reboot-based gameplay loop. There's a lot to love in Reload. Reload is one of those things that I can't really credit to the season itself for introducing it. It's like Zero Build in Chapter 3, but it's worth mentioning as one of the best additions in a very long time, which I truly believe it is. There are rumors that it was fast-tracked because of Wrecked's poor reception, so maybe Wrecked is to thank. It has a good content flow, and it's just generally a really viable mode for the game. It means that they can make seasons that are more outside of the box, but players will always have a more traditional, familiar experience to fall back on. This season culminated in the Refinery event, which saw Megalodon attempting to refuel the Leviathan, but being hacked by Dr. Doom. Then the entire pipeline just exploded, for some reason, as did part of Redline Rig, exposing Pandora's box. It was a small event, but it was cool. The visuals with the nuclear explosion were stunning, and the score was really good too. I'm not really sure why anything that happened, but the build-up with the Wanderer following players around was cool too, and it was just a cool event. I had a good experience in Wrecked. 9 games out of 10, I had a good time, but I know not everyone had the same experience as me, and that's okay. A season like this, bound to be controversial. I can appreciate Wrecked because I know it's truly one of a kind. We'll never see a Fortnite like this again, and I went into this season with that in mind. Did it have its problems? Of course. Pretty much every season has done some dumb thing that makes people mad. Just a side effect of being Fortnite, like vaulting loot llamas. Why did they do that? What the hell, man? But I think this season did a lot right too. The map changes were stellar, the content flow was consistent and meaningful, the whole theme of the season was really cool, and it shows that they're willing to experiment again and try more crazy, kooky seasons. Wrecked is definitely one of the most divisive seasons. Some hate it, some love it, but I hope it doesn't discourage Epic from experimenting more and cooking up more seasons like this. But that's just my opinion, and of course, you're entitled to yours too.